Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's first video during the weekend forecast. For today's first video, as always on a Saturday, we're having a detailed look at weather weekend. A very interesting week's weather is going to be. I'll talk about that in a second, but it's a big weekend for Gavs Weather. It's because tomorrow we've got the winter 2017-18 forecast coming up. So I've been doing the winter update since the beginning of September. It's all been building and building to the point where now we have reached the end of those updates. And it's time to issue the forecast. So the winter forecast will be released tomorrow morning around 10 AM here on the homepage with video, and then later on it will be placed on the winter updates page with a written summary just explaining all about the forecast in a written form as well. So that'll be coming up for you tomorrow. Before we get to that, of course, this evening we've got the 15th Christmas update. So there's going to be loads going on at the website through the course of the weekend. Primarily, of course, focus on that winter forecast tomorrow. But kicking it all off, we've got the week ahead forecast. As I say, it's going to be quite an interesting week's weather, because we're going to be starting off with a lot of quiet and a little bit milder conditions. But later on in the week, we could get a real northerly blast coming along. And this one, unlike last week's, or this week's northerly, which wasn't particularly snowy, but northerly blast that could be coming up at the end of the coming week, that might be a much more snowy, much more wintry. So do keep watching the forecast over the next few days. I'll give you the basics today, but it is bound to change in the coming days. But there is some snow potential, I think, for the end of week, based on the charts anyway that we're seeing right now. So I'll get on with that in a second, just to say that Gav's Christmas shop is still open. So if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, all you have to do is click the green button that says Gav's Christmas Shop. It takes you through to our Christmas Shop page, and then from there go through the Amazon banners. And because you've gone from Gav's Weather to Amazon, when you get there, you just do your Christmas shopping. But because you've gone from Gav's Weather to Amazon, they know you've arrived at their website from ours, and so we get a revenue fee on the things that you buy. And a big thank you to everybody for doing that. I'm going to tell you that websites using for weekend forecast coming from theweatheroutlook.com. They're releasing their winter forecast today, so have a look at that later on this afternoon or this evening. That's always a really interesting look at the weatheroutlook.com. Their winter forecast will be issued later today. So websites are weatheroutlook.com and weathercentre.de. You can find links to both websites on the links page, and I think better get on with it. So we're starting off today with radar picture, and well, we've got little bits and pieces of light rain. There's not much rain around today, just little bits and pieces of light rain and drizzle, but not a huge amount to be seen. A little bit more substantial with the rain across the very far north of Scotland, but elsewhere we're just talking about annoyingly drizzly bits and pieces of rain and drizzle. What's happened over the past 24 hours is that the high pressure that gave us the cold end to November, that's just shifted a little bit to be sitting just to the west of Ireland, and it's allowing in more of an Atlantic influence. So we're pulling the winds around the top of this high pressure from the central and northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. And so this is feeding in lots of cloud, weak weather fronts coming down with this flow as well. But because the air is Atlantic based, it is turning a little bit less cold. So I think we expect a lot of cloud to continue across many parts of the country today. There will be some brightness coming and going, but overall expect plenty of cloud, light drizzly bits and pieces of rain, and heavier rain at times across the far north of Scotland. Now, saying it's less cold, that is actually still quite a chilly day down in the south. So temperatures there are only going to be around 4 or 5 degrees. In the north and the west, we might get up to around 7 or 8 degrees. Certainly nothing to get excited about. And I say with this cloudy, damp weather, it will probably feel quite cold still, especially for southern and eastern parts of the country. Overnight tonight, very little change, so we'll continue to feed cloud down from the northwest, and maybe a little front moving down from Scotland into England and Wales, possibly just giving slightly more in the way of dampness through the second half of the night. But at the same time, clearer skies could return to Scotland, and maybe there we might have a frost with temperature going down close to freezing. Otherwise, it should be relatively mild night with temperatures holding up around 4 or 5 or 6 degrees. Just too much cloud across most parts of the country for much in the way of frost. And this continues into Sunday as well, and again we're feeding down these northwesterly winds. May start off with some brightness in the north, that might trickle southwards through the course of the day, but overall I would expect quite a lot of cloud to continue through the course of tomorrow. I think we may well lose the dampness that we've got today, so that's one bonus. I think most places will be turning dry through the course of Sunday afternoon. Temperatures will be a little bit milder compared to today as well, ranging from around 8 degrees I should say 10 degrees in the far west to around 6 degrees over in the east. A bit of an east-west split for temperatures, but they are gradually starting to turn milder, particularly so in the west. Through to Monday, the high pressure repositioned itself ever so slightly. It's starting to move down towards France, and this will begin to pull up some drier air, particularly across England and Wales. So although Monday may start off with quite a lot of cloud, I suspect through the day we may well find that cloud beginning to break up quite a bit across England and Wales, possibly allowing some bright or sunny spells to develop, particularly down in the south, close to this drier continental feed of air from France. However, for Scotland and Northern Ireland, we're still pulling up these west-southwesterly winds, so I'd expect to keep a lot of cloud up there, and maybe more in way of wet weather arriving in the far north of Scotland by the end of the day on Monday. Temperatures in any sunshine could get up to around 10 degrees, that's 50 Fahrenheit. Under the cloudier skies, probably no better, but around 6 or 7 degrees. This is how things are looking on Tuesday. So high pressures across northern France then, keeping much of England and Wales dry, but for Scotland and Northern Ireland, we're pulling up the southwesterly winds. I suspect the skies may continue to clear through the course of Monday night and into Tuesday, and that could allow, across England and Wales particularly, that could allow fog to develop. So Tuesday might start off with some fairly dense fog patches and maybe a frost across England and Wales as well. For Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's likely to be cloudy, again with this brisk and increasingly freshening west to southwesterly wind, and that continues through the course of Tuesday. So Scotland, Northern Ireland, probably northwesting, keeping a lot of cloud, freshening winds and light outbreaks of rain. Rest of England and Wales, probably mostly dry, fairly light winds. We may have dense fog patches lingering through the day, but there should also be sunny spells as well. Temperatures could get up to around 10 degrees, but more likely somewhere around 6 to 9 degrees. All changing to Wednesday as a deepening area of low pressure starts to spread in from off the Atlantic, and notice behind it high pressure is beginning to develop again across the far north of the Atlantic, just to the south of Greenland. So that's starting to pull down these cold northerly winds onto the northern side of this area of low pressure. So any fog problems that we might have for Tuesday will be gone by Wednesday, because you see we've got tightly packed isobars. England and Wales having a mainly dry morning with some sunny spells, but cloud and outbreaks of rain across Scotland and Northern Ireland from the word go become more widespread, with most places in the north and west turning wet and windy during the course of Wednesday afternoon. Southern southeastern parts of the country probably remaining mostly dry through daylight hours, but those winds will be freshening up, so we turn windy through the course of Wednesday afternoon. The very far north could start to see these colder northerly winds beginning to set in. So some of the rain across the far north of Scotland might turn to snow by the end of Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening. Overall, it's a mild day, though probably the mildest day of the week on Wednesday, with temperatures from around 8 to 12 degrees. 12 is a very mild 54 Fahrenheit. But after a mild start, the north of Scotland might see temperatures dropping to around 3 degrees by the end of the day. And that is a sign of things to come, because as we go through the night to Wednesday into Thursday, we find this low pressure pushing across the country, and then northerly winds spreading down on the backside of this deepening area of low pressure. So we see a lot of heavy rain pushing through the country, I think, through the course of Wednesday night and into Thursday, with that rain turning increasingly to snow on its northern edge across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern England. For the rest of England and Wales, it's just a wet and windy old night. And as we go through into Thursday, where this low pressure, quite a deep storm, moves off into the North Sea, and that turns the winds into the north. If you follow the isobars back, the winds originating from a long way north. This is a real polar northerly that's coming down across the country during the course of Thursday. So we'll start off cloudy and wet for England and Wales during the course of Thursday, and that rain could turn increasingly to snow, initially through Wales and the Midlands on Thursday morning, and then that snow might spread southwards and eastwards through the course of Thursday afternoon. And this could be fairly significant snow. It might be enough to cause a covering even to low levels, so we do need to keep an eye on it. Eventually this cloud with rain and snow moves away into the North Sea on Thursday afternoon. Then we open the floodgates to these Arctic northerly winds, which bring snow showers to Scotland and around the coastal fringes. This is a very unstable northerly as well, so it might have embedded troughs and fronts in it that could just enhance those snow showers at times. Also very windy. There could be gale force winds on Thursday, which might lead to some local drifting of any lying snow. And we may find a little bit of flooding occurring down the North Sea with these strong northerly winds as well. Temperatures in the south could start off at around 7 degrees on Thursday morning, but they're likely to drop through the day, so probably finishing up no better but around 1 to 5 degrees Celsius on Thursday afternoon. I think bitterly cold in those northerly winds. And then those northerly winds continue into Friday. We've got high pressure around Greenland and Iceland, low pressure somewhere around Norway, and that's pulling down these cold northerly winds. So I expect more snow showers across northern parts of the country on Friday. Snow showers also draping around the coast. Inland, probably a reasonable amount of dry weather, but as I said, this is an unstable northerly wind, so it could contain embedded fronts and troughs, and we won't know about that until close to the time frame. If it does, you'll find bands of snow pushing southwards across the country. Bitterly cold day on Friday with temperatures barely above freezing in the north to around 3 or 4 degrees at best down in the south. And then the GFS wants to keep these cold wintry conditions going through next weekend. Probably the snow eases off a little bit, but the risk then would be of hard overnight frost. Other models, however, want to re-establish an Atlantic flow next weekend, particularly the ECMWF. If that comes off, we will probably find a band of transitional snow coming across the country next weekend, followed by milder or less cold conditions with rain more likely, particularly so in the north and in the west of the country. Temperatures staging a little bit of a recovery. So next weekend is still open to quite a bit of uncertainty. Finally, having a look at the charts and weather outlook. So a lot of cloud across the country today, mostly dry as well, with reasonably fine conditions. There will be little bits and pieces of rain and drizzle here and there. This is suggesting the southeast might get some sunny spells. There may be a few brighter breaks coming through, but I think overall quite a lot of cloud today, and that's the case for Sunday as well. Better chance of seeing the sunshine for England and Wales on Monday. Scotland and Northern Ireland probably keeping quite a bit of cloud. Tuesday, so we may have some dense fog patches down in the south and maybe a frosty start. Further north and west, probably just cloudy with the wind freshening up. And then all change on Wednesday as wet weather gathers in the north and west and starts to spread eastwards, giving most of us quite a wet night through the course of Wednesday night and into Thursday. So we run through the course of Thursday, and we find that this wet weather is pushing southwards and eastwards across the country, with the rain turning to snow on its northern edge. This is how things are looking at midday on Thursday, with wet weather down in the south and snow being suggested there through northern England, Wales and the Midlands as well through the course of Thursday. Could be quite a wintry day, but rain and snow pushes away through the course of Thursday afternoon and leaves us with these snow showers in the north and around coastal fringes as well. And then that takes us into Friday, where we're in a bitterly cold northerly wind with snow showers pushing southwards. They might band up to give some longer spells of snow, particularly in the north. Those longer spells of snow might push southwards. A bitterly cold northerly wind looks likely. So it's a really interesting week, this. We're starting off with a lot of quiet weather, lots of cloud today, some little bits of piece of rain and drizzle too. We're going to keep it mostly dry and quiet through the first half of the week. Wet and windy and fairly mild midweek, and then much colder Thursday and Friday with Arctic, polar air coming down from the north, and there will be a risk of snow, I think, as well in the second half of the week. Detail is to be determined, but I think we could get some snow in the second half of the coming week. Right, that's all for now. The 15th Christmas update will be with you later on today. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.